I would like to speak now, not as Brian Haydad, the guy who covers Mississippi State for Sports Talk Mississippi. I would like to speak now as Brian Haydad, fan of Mississippi State. You guys all know that I am. I've never tried to hide it. When I tell you that at the end of that first half, I was madder than I have been in a long, long time. I could not see straight. I texted Robbie Falk. I was like, if they're going to no-show, so are we. We're not doing a podcast if they lose this game. I cannot be held responsible for the things that I will say if they lose this game. Robbie, of all people, was the voice of reason. It was like, just calm down. I was spitting. I was so angry at this team. Thank goodness. Thank goodness it ended the way that it did. Otherwise, this show was going to be really fun for some people.
22 first-half points for Mississippi State. 22 first-half points. That is just barely over a point per minute. Hideous basketball. Hideous basketball. Down 7 at the break. They were 7 of 24 from the field. Took 10 three-point shots, made one of them. I'm not a math guy, but I think that's 10% from 3. And for good measure, they were 7 of 13 from the free throw line. That's good for 54%. So let's start there. They start the game about as ugly as it possibly could have been. I know you were mad, but extended thoughts on how they came out of the gate.
They were terrible. No, yeah, you nailed it. It looked like the same first half we've seen these last few games, right? The games against Auburn, Texas A&M, and South Carolina. Just nonchalant, no offense. Tolu, a complete non-factor. Defensively, having lapses, leaving guys open, and letting LSU get some easy shots. And for a while there, tonight, my cousin Chris, who's a big Tiger fan, is going to be in town. His son is touring Mississippi State. Hopefully we can pull him in. But I was positive I was going to have to cancel dinner reservations. I was like, you know what? I can't. I just can't make it. I was positive because State was playing so poorly. And I was like, well, I've seen this game, 3 weeks in a row. And I guess I'm going to see it again here. But whatever Chris Jans said at halftime, whatever they put in the Gatorade mix there in the locker room, it worked. Because State was able to find some offense outside of Josh Hubbard, although Hubbard once again, carried the day. Tolu Smith was able to find, at least helped out on the boards, if nothing else. He had 12 rebounds in this game. He only had 8 points, 13 rebounds, including 4 on the offensive boards. So good game for him. And then, this is 3 games in a row. It's the first win, but it's the third game in a row where Rams Davis has been in double figures. He had a couple of big buckets there in the second half that got things going. So a complete turnaround for the Bulldogs from first half to second, and played their way into what appears to be a lock for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. So they go into the halftime locker room down 7. They come out, and it wasn't Tolu and Hubbard initially that got them going to start the second half and kind of set the tone for the second half. A quick 6-0 run out of the gate, and it was Matthews, it was Jeffries, Davis. Those were the guys that contributed to that little mini run out of the halftime locker room.
Shaq Moore, too, had some big shots in the second half.
And that is what sparked this team. And that's something that, yesterday we talked about this game going into it. You're going to need Tolu to play better. Hubbard's going to have to score. You got to get contributions from everybody, but when it wasn't your main go-to guys out of the locker room at halftime that kind of punched LSU in the mouth to start the second half, that set the tone, and then they ended up running away with it. Although LSU cut it back down to 3, but State ran away from LSU in the second half, starting with that 6-0 run out of the gate.
And defense is what was the difference in this game, first half to second half. First half, LSU shoots 46%. Second half, they shoot 31%. I mean, that's just a monstrous difference. And for State, they shoot 29% in the first half. They shoot 52% in the second half. So defense led to offense for Mississippi State. And this is a game where State had forced, I think, in the first half, had forced like 12 turnovers, and we're still trailing by 7 points. I mean, that's hard to believe. Once again with LSU, Trey Hannibal if Trey Hannibal could play Mississippi State every game, he'd be the first pick in the draft. This guy averages like 5 points a game. In 2 games against Mississippi State this year, he had 21 and 18. Is he related to Breein Tyree by any instance? I don't know what's going on
or
here.
Blake Hinson, who, by the way, is just like tearing it up against Wake Forest right now. Blake Hinson's still in college.
If I'm Chris Beard, I'm going to get Trey Hannibal into the portal. Come to Oxford. He kills Mississippi State.
18 LSU turnovers. You mentioned defense. 18 LSU
huge.
Turnovers.
Yeah, and then the other thing I thought was huge was Hubbard not making shots but getting to the free throw line. And that's something a good basketball player will do. When his shot's not falling, get yourself to the line. So 9 of 10 from the free throw line really carried State there when, like you said, Cam Matthews 1 of 6 from the free throw line there. Not a great day for him. Cam Matthews, who had such a great game Saturday against South Carolina in defeat, almost single-handedly was keeping State out of it in the early going of this one. But as you said, they just found some guys in the second half. And again, only Hubbard and Deshaun Davis are in double figures.
Yeah.
But 8 from Jeffries with 11 rebounds, 8 from Tolu. They were key buckets when they got them. And the 9, I thought Shaq Moore, to only have 9 points, he had 9 crucial points for Mississippi State. So good win. They did enough, and now it appears they can sit back and relax and just take Selection Sunday as it comes.
It feels not bad. I don't know. It feels off to ask this question in this segment, considering they won the game. But what is up with Tolu lately? Had missed a handful of bunnies as well. That would have. Now they ended up winning the game and winning it comfortably, so it didn't matter. But those missed shots felt big at the time. What's up?
It's been all year. It's been all year with him. He's missed. He should be averaging about 4 points per game than he is averaging because he's just missed so many easy shots. But it's really been noticeable these past couple of weeks. You go back to that Friday before State played Auburn, and Christian said that he fell at practice and there was some concern. I almost to the point where I wonder if there's some sort of lingering, not injury, but he's just not 100%. He's good enough to play. He's cleared, but something's just not right because the other option is there's some mental block there, and that's possible as well. You get into a losing streak, you get into a little bit of a funk, and you could be in this position. Maybe winning this game will snap them out of it a little bit, and you can see the Tolu of we've seen prior to this. Also, I'm interested to see who State gets matched up with because if they don't have a physical presence, and LSU, to give their credit today, was very physical with Mississippi State. If you play a team that's more finesse, and I'll give an example, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, not a great physical basketball team. Then Tolu can have a lot of success, and that might be something that gets him going. Because, again, as I know Hubbard has done it now 7 games in a row, 6 games in a row, you feel like as a freshman, one day he's not going to show up, and he's only going to have 12, 13 points. You're going to need Tolu then.
Yeah, he's such a good scorer of the basketball as well. Especially early, didn't have his shot, but still found a way to put 24 points up on the board. And that's when he is able to give you buckets. He was 3 of 6 from inside the arc, so he's not just an outside shooter. Was able to produce and score, as you said, get to the line. And so when you can be multi-leveled, it makes you so much more dangerous because if he was just pulling the trigger from outside and that's all his game was, if he's missing shots like he did earlier in the game, then he's rendered completely ineffective. But when he can score at multiple levels, had a great assist as well. One of those little, I don't know what you call them because it's a one-armed, it's like a football pass, but he did it from his chest and just slinged
like a shovel pass almost.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just threw a fastball in there, perfect strike for a dunk.
That's what good players do, is they find ways to help their team win. If it's getting to the line, if it's cutting inside, if it's dishing, if it's playing defense, whatever it is, Josh Hubbard is that kind of player.
Okay, Steve on the text line says the Dogs just don't look motivated. No guarantee they're in. They'll have to look better the next game, I think. So, with all due respect, they look pretty motivated in the second half of that one.
They're in.
And we're so confident about that because the metrics tell you that they are. And looking at the bracket right now, so Mississippi State beat LSU. They're going to play Tennessee tomorrow at noon again, so we'll get to react in real time again. A neutral site loss to a top 5 net team might even help Mississippi State in that metric.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly not going to reduce them down any. All of the bracket experts, the guys that do this for a living, have said win and they're in. It's really that simple. The metrics, the quality wins, the schedule strength, all is in their favor. So that's why we're so confident, because the people that do this for a living are that confident. So, everybody could be wrong in this. It's certainly possible. But when all of them are uniform in their thinking, when, again, they literally do this for a living and they've been doing it for a very long time, there's reason to believe they're accurate.
Yeah. I'm trying to see where State is on the resume here. Obviously, Washington State's still a quad 1 win for State. Northwestern is at 51. I assume, are they still alive in the Big Ten tournament? Do we know? Let's see here. They are TBD, so they have to play tomorrow. So if they can get a win tomorrow, they would probably go back into the top 50 and give State another quad 1 win. And, of course, State's playing Tennessee tomorrow. Team they've already beaten, why not beat them again? I don't know. So, yeah, State's resume is good enough at this point. Especially, like I said, I mentioned they beat Tennessee and Auburn. That's the teams that are currently 5th and 6th in the net. So they have wins over those two teams. Auburn's resume is so weird, right? They are 23-0 quad 2 to quad 4. They're 1-7 quad 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Explain that.
That one win is that they beat Alabama at home. That's their one win.
So they're Super Bowl or whatever.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't go there.
Man. So somebody says with LSU coming to Starkville for baseball this weekend, Brian desperately needed that basketball win for his sanity, or else it was setting up for a long weekend.
That's him. That's Chris. He's texting the show. He's on the way. He said he's between Meridian and Starkville right now.
Nice.
He's letting us have it. Letting me have it anyway.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Understandably so. So, big win, important win for Mississippi State, and needed that one. I mean, they're kind of falling apart. If they had lost today, this conversation would have gone differently, on top of just the inherent anger, but what a collapse that would have been had they not been able to pull it off today. And it felt like, honestly, I was with you at halftime. I thought, 7, they're still in it, but jeez, it just looks awful again.
They look like they had no-showed again. And, yeah, if they had lost, the tone of this conversation is all-time collapse, right? 5 games ago, you were 28th in the net. All you had to do was win one more game. You had 2 of them at home. You had Kentucky on the ropes, and you couldn't finish the job there. But it would have been an all-time collapse to not have made the tournament, especially going back to the season with bringing everybody back and doing that. There was no excuse to miss the tournament, and they did, thankfully.
Yeah. Other games going on, or